All right, good morning and welcome to the Code Enforcement Board meeting of April 14th, 2022. Meeting will now come to order. May we have a roll call vote, Madam Secretary?
Mr. Harrington?
Here.
Ms. Marsh?
Here.
Ms. Roby?
Here.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Present.
Ms. Himes?
Here.
Ms. Kundig?
Here?
Mr. Reinhardt?
Mr. Reinhardt isn't here. We haven't heard from him, so we're going to start since we have a quorum. And we'll just make a motion to excuse. Motion to excuse?
I'll motion.
Ms.
Second.
Roby, second. Mr. Gonzalez, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries.
What is
Okay, has everybody had a chance to read the minutes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any additions or corrections?
Motion to approve the minutes.
Mr. Harrington made a motion to approve, second Ms. Himes, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, minutes are approved. Does anyone need to disclose any ex parte communication? Okay, all good with that. Do we have any announcements, Madam Secretary?
Yes, ma'am. Starting on page 3, I have case number 4, CEB-02-22-49, 408 Wisteria Road is in compliance, 4/5/22. And on the same
Can you
page,
give me that case number again?
CEB-02-22-49,
Oh, that case number 4.
Right.
case, yeah. Case number 5 is CEB 03-22-70, 620 Braddock Avenue is in compliance, 4/13/22.
We have some additional announcements too, due to some Scrivener's error. Some notices were not dated properly, so there's some cases that need to be pulled from the agenda. They'll be properly noticed for next month's agenda and added to that meeting. We'll start on page 7, case number 19, CEB.
Hold on, let's get to page 7.
Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
So we're on page 7, case number 19, CEB 042281. This is property at 121 Lockhart Street. This one's pulled from the agenda. The next one is case number 20, CEB 042280. This is property at 318 South Adams Street. This one is pulled from the agenda. The next one is case number 21, CEB 042285. This is property at 630 Marco Street. This one is pulled from the agenda. The next one is case number 22,
Jesus.
Wow.
CEB 042286. This one is pulled from the agenda.
Okay.
Moving to page 8, case number 23, CEB 042292. This is property at 1301 3rd Street. This one is pulled from the agenda. Case number 24, CEB 042279. This is property at 1259 Waverly Drive. This one is pulled from the agenda. The next one is case number 25, CEB 042287. This is property at 619 Clark Street. This one is pulled from the agenda.
God.
Case number 26, CEB 042283. Property at 314 Fletcher Avenue and 316 is pulled from the agenda.
We just pull ourselves from the agenda this month.
Yeah, it's going to be a short meeting. To page 9, case number 27, CEB 042284. This is property at 330 Lane Street. This is pulled from the agenda. And the miscellaneous business was added in error. That one is also pulled from the agenda. That's miscellaneous business 1. It's labeled CEB 012207, 416 Eastwood Lane. That one's pulled from the agenda. That means that if anybody's here for any of those cases that I just announced, your case will be renoticed and you will be heard in the meeting during May. So if you're here now for it, there's no need for you to stay. You're welcome to stay if you'd like, but just wanted to announce that ahead of time.
Yeah.
Go through them again real quick.
If you have any questions or concerns, you can see the officer right back by the door, Officer Lamp, be glad to help you out.
So these are the cases we aren't going to hear if you didn't, I'll just go over the, like, case number as it's on the agenda. Case number for different reasons. Case number 4, case number 5.
7.
Case number 19, case number 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, and the MB1, the miscellaneous business. So if any of you are here for those cases, you feel free to leave because there are issues with them, so, or they're in compliance. Okay,
I have a question, Madam Chair.
go ahead.
All these cases were pulled for the same reasons, or there various reasons, or?
The ones that I announced, all of them were pulled for the same reason.
Okay.
And, except for the miscellaneous business, that one was just and we just added it. It was,
Right.
and I got added by error.
Okay,
And the 2 of the cases were in compliance. so-
right, okay.
But sometimes people don't think they still have to come, so I just want to make sure everybody knows. All right. Would our code officers please come, or just stand up and be sworn in?
Provides the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? Thank you.
All right, everybody, here's our procedure. We'll be calling cases by number, and for the most part in orders they're listed on the agenda. If there are any attorneys present that need to be in court, we'll hear those cases first. If there are any police officers that need to testify, those cases will also be moved up towards the top. They need to get back to assignment. When your case is called, please come forward and be sworn in. State your name and address for the record. If you're not the owner of the property, please state your relationship to the owners. Our proceedings are always recorded, so please speak into the mic. We hear from our code officers first, and then you'll be given the opportunity to respond. Please direct all of your responses to the board. And witnesses can testify also in some cases following the same procedures. All right, so we're going to start with our lien review, but I think just left.
Ms. Ward?
Okay.
Well, let's just do case 1.
Well, doesn't the attorney want to be here for the?
He's here.
Okay, he's right here. Okay, we're just called your case, the case where you are. All right. This is our lien review. Lien review number 1 is CEB 11-20-208 Fulton Street parcel. Walter Fordham, Mary Ann, Sharon Hawkins Holden. Would you come forward if you'd like to speak and be sworn in, if you're going to be speaking?
Good morning.
Oh, that one?
You go over here.
Okay. Good morning.
You go.
Morning.
What's your name?
Sharon Hawkins.
Hawkins?
Hawkins.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you. Sir, can you state your name?
Walter Fordham.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Is anybody else going to testify? Just state your name. We know you don't have to be sworn in.
Actually, for the record, I won't be testifying, but I'm the attorney for. Mr.
You're representing him.
Roland Lawson.
Okay, so okay. All right. All right, Mr. Garcia, you going to present this city's point of view here?
Yes,
Okay.
Daniel Garcia, Inspector with the City of Daytona Beach.
I'm sorry, it's a lien review, so typically it's a request from the respondent on a lien review.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did it backwards. Okay.
Okay.
As usual, I did it backwards. Habit. All right, so what is your name?
Sharon Hawkins Holden. I'm the new owner of Fulton Street.
Okay.
I purchased the property in 2020 and didn't know any of this was going on since 2019. I received a first notice in February or March by Mr. Garcia about all this violations. But before then, everything was cleaned up. I guess I'm here because I'm trying to get a lien waiver by being the new owner. I received a letter in February, February, Mr. Garcia? My first letter about violations on the property. I was trying to do the property, get it combined together, and the city told me there was some violations on the property, which I had no idea it was. So I received a letter stating that it was. I never received a letter about any liens until now, really, until now. But I received a letter about the violations in 21. It took me about 6 months just to get someone to respond, someone to help me because of COVID. Nobody was in the office. It was just a bad timing. But when I did get the letter, as he would tell you, I cleaned everything up. I knocked down the shed. I guess that was a shed that had been there for 30 years. 30, 40 years, longer than that shed, longer than, older than me. And I didn't know anything about it. When I spoke with Mr. Garcia, I found out what was the best solution to do with it. He told me knock it down. I knocked it down. I just knocked it down to get it in compliance. And we did. Cleaned it up. But I cleaned it up when I first purchased. That was in January. But I didn't knock the shed down until, when did I knock the shed down, Mr. Garcia?
Inspector Garcia, credentials on file. I put it in compliance in October. That's when I did the reinspection. October 19, 2021 was when it actually, I found that it was removed and the property was cleaned.
When was it put into compliance?
October 19, 2021. That was my last reinspection.
And as a new owner, I never received
When
anything.
did you buy the property? Let's
I took ownership in February 2021 after the holidays. But I bought it in October 20.
Right, October, the property was sold to you October of 1920.
20.
Okay. The notice was sent that there was a violation. People were first notified in July of 2019.
I wasn't ownership.
You
over
weren't
it.
on board then, is that
No.
correct?
That's correct.
And it still wasn't in compliance over a year later at 2020. And this entire period, which is over a year, whoever owned this property didn't get the property in compliance, is that correct?
And that was because of miscommunication.
Yeah, well, you didn't even own it yet.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure out this timeline here.
Madam Chair, there was a finding of noncompliance from you that was sent out to all three parties, and it was signed for, I do have record here that was signed for by Ms. Hawkins on February 1st of 2021.
Madam Chair, I have a question,
Go ahead.
because I'm a little confused
Me
by
too.
what
Yeah.
you just said. first you said you weren't notified till now. Well,
The first letter,
okay, but that's not now, that's back then, right?
okay.
Okay. So then you state, we go back and forth with 2020 and 2021, but you bought it in 2019.
No,
No, she bought it
No.
in October
20,
of
20.
of
Oh,
20.
20, okay, all right. And so you're saying that you didn't know anything, you weren't aware back then?
Until I received that
until-
letter.
Which was when?
What,
When was that letter sent?
February?
February 1st, 2021. Well, I'm sorry, that's the date that she signed for it, not the
Right.
date it was sent.
Right, right. Okay. So you were aware of it
Then,
February of 21?
if,
Okay.
whenever I got the letter.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
And a fine was imposed, Danny, on February 11th, 2021, that's when the fine was imposed?
Correct.
Okay.
The letter that I received was to put everything in compliance, which I did.
And what was the date of that letter? These dates are all confusing, I think.
The date of the fine?
No, not the date of the fine, the date, when did it come into compliance?
It came in compliance on October 19, 2021.
Okay, that's compliance date.
And she owned it then?
When did,
Is that right?
At October 19,
Yeah.
2021, she owned it then.
Okay, okay, thank you.
yes, correct.
I need a clarification from the attorneys,
Go
if I
ahead.
may. So when it's been my understanding, and it could be wrong, that the original owners are responsible for whatever things that they were noticed.
They were
for.
originally responsible.
Right, right. So, just a point of clarification, so when the new owner comes into play, then they become responsible.
It becomes a lien against the property.
Right.
Which moves
Right.
the land from owner to owner, so she bought subject to this lien,
Right,
Okay,
even though
right,
she's not responsible for causing the problem.
correct.
right, but she's responsible for fixing the problem.
She's
And I did.
responsible for bringing it into compliance.
And she
Right,
did.
okay, okay.
And she brought
And
it
she
into
did,
compliance, but
right,
she's also responsible for, the new owners are responsible for knowing what they're buying, whether it has a lien on it or whether it has,
When
uh,
was the lien?
But there would have been a lien on it when she bought it.
there was no lien on it when she bought it, but it was not compliant.
Non-compliant.
So the question is, when was the lien recorded? I don't have that
The,
information with me.
the lien was recorded with the
February
county, I'm sorry, the lien was recorded with the county on February 16th of 2021.
When?
February 16.
This year?
I didn't hear the date. Was it 29?
Yeah, it's February 16th of 2021.
So
That was
from
last
point
year.
on, it was public record, and you would know there was a lien.
That was several, I mean, that was a long time after she bought the property. And compliance,
And this, just to be clear, that lien, that order imposing a fine and lien was sent to all three parties also.
okay.
So at the point of purchase, doesn't the seller have a responsibility to
we just-
inform?
Could we just clarify the date of purchase?
Not 10/9/20, October 9th,
So the purchase occurred before this lien was imposed.
yes,
The purchase occurred when? Before?
The lien was imposed.
right.
purchased.
But
It's his responsibility.
it was not in compliance.
But the date we have to work with is February 2021, when they were notified.
So maybe I can add some clarity here. This is a case that was before you, that was proceeding through the process of coming into compliance through going through the process of the Code Enforcement Board. And during that process, the owner decided to sell the property. And at that point, a new owner was added. And that new owner was added, the proper notices were given. And when the new owner was added, the old owner stays on that case as well if you're past the point of having a finding of noncompliance. At that point, that's where we got into the point where you got to the point of levying a fine or a lien, imposing a fine and lien. That's why all three parties were sent the imposed lien and fine, and that's why all three parties are encumbered by it.
And that date.
And I think the attorney can maybe clarify some of that if you need any other
You got
further
it.
clarification.
That official date we're working with is February 1st, 2021. That's when we were notified, all three parties.
No, I was,
The 16th.
February 19th,
Right, October.
2021.
Right.
February 16th of 2021 is the date that the lien was imposed. Or I mean, recorded with the
Recorded.
county. I'm sorry, recorded with the county.
But on October the 19th, no, February the 1st, she was notified.
No, I was just, there was a claim that she didn't know about it, and I was just letting you know that there was a record that she signed for on February
A letter.
1st, 2021.
And what was that for, Captain?
And that was the finding of that was a finding of noncompliance.
And was she noticed, that was the first notice she received?
Only.
Non-compliance, so she wasn't noticed for the hearing or for the CEDB one?
I believe she was. I believe the property was posted, but the inspector may be able to add to that. I could pull that up in our other system.
Are you saying that you weren't notified?
No,
To this?
the only thing I got was that one from Graziano, the letter saying, clean up this, do that. And that's what I did when I was persistent with him, get this done. And I did. That was it. I don't know anything about, I didn't know anything about none of this.
And was that a CEB one?
That was a CB1.
Okay, so she was provided notice of the violation and an opportunity to bring it into compliance.
Yes.
Prior to the lien being imposed.
Right, okay.
And while you were an owner as well. Do I have the timing right on that?
February I was, 21 I was.
So based on the record,
I-
it would be my assertion that she was given proper notice and had the opportunity to bring it into compliance.
And I did.
There was a finding of noncompliance.
Yeah, I did.
What are these pictures of we're looking at
Before me,
before you cleaned
Yeah.
up the property? All right, let's take a look at these pictures, 'cause
If you start with the gate where it opened, where the opening gate, that's the first picture. I believe it was on July 2nd, July 10, 2019. There's a few of those, about 6 of those. It shows outside storage, trash and debris. It shows the damaged roof, the siding, dilapidated, and also that was when Mr. Fordham had it.
okay,
So there was 6 photos then. Then in February 25th, 2020, that was when a new roof was being put on without a permit.
okay.
Siding was also being done without a permit. Then on July 2nd, 2020, is where I noticed it was the tarp on the roof with the outside storage. And then continuing, as I did re-inspections throughout September 18, same thing, outside storage and the tarp, where they put the new one. But then as you went to November 6th, I found that right there, Mr. Fordham was on the property, and they were redoing the roof again without a permit. And I spoke to him and told him, you can't do anything without obtaining a permit first. He tried to go down, that was when we were going to code board, he tried to go down and obtain one, and at that time, they stated that he couldn't do it because he was not the owner, no longer the owner, which I have notes from permits and licensing stating that.
Because he was no longer the owner.
Yes, as not current owner, cannot owner/build. And that was from the previous supervisor, Jennifer Bennett, down there.
Could I?
Sure.
We know there were violations.
Right.
They've been corrected. This is in a redevelopment zone. The purpose of a redevelopment zone and code is to get property into compliance and then increase the value of the property. So I think we ought to get down to business and decide whether we want to reduce this fine or not. And who owned it on what date or whatever, it's not irrelevant, but it's not the key issue here. It's what are we going to do to help them out or not help them out?
Well, it's not helping them out. It's like what's,
Well, so.
you know, fair, whatever. What, yeah,
Thing to discuss.
what's fair. What does the city have a position
Well,
on
the
what should be
city's,
done?
we discussed in the city's act on this was no reduction, is what we came up with. For the time amount spent, the numerous re-inspections and whatnot, it took a long time. There was even a porta potty that was added, which you could see there, and there was some type of, this little other structure was added on there. But I can't say when she became the owner, she did bring it all in compliance. The last photos will show everything is completely done,
Right.
gone, removed.
Looks a lot better.
It does, the whole area.
I think before we make a decision, we have to hear the other side of the story.
What was it?
What is the other stuff? Well,
Well, the other party that's
would you
here.
like to speak?
Yeah,
Come on
He
up.
sold it to us.
right.
All right, we'll let Mr. Blossom speak.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Roland Blossom on behalf of Mr. Fordham, and just here to bring whatever clarity I can.
Okay.
Because this is a very confusing
It is.
situation. First of all, Mr. Fordham owned the property for essentially 4 years. His family, his son owned it previously, and he acquired it from his son. When the code enforcement citations were originally served on Mr. Fordham, it was 2000, I think it was July of 2019. When that happened, there were a number of code violations, as you could see from the pictures, the outside storage, the fact that you had a roof that needed work. It's a 12 by 14 shed structure, and the roof needed work done. About a 6 by 6 area was damaged and needed to be replaced. And Mr. Fordham attempted to do that by going down and applying for a permit. And he started working on the permit and indicated that he had an individual, a contractor, that was going to do the work, and the man told him that that's what he was going to do. And they started the work, and Mr. Fordham, as most lay people are, he didn't realize what the process was going to be, and unfortunately, the man did the work. And he completed the work, but he could never get it signed off on because the inspector certainly didn't have the right to inspect it for that work until a permit was granted. The permit had not been granted. Mr. Fordham thought he had done everything he needed to do when he asked for the permit. And when the permit wasn't granted, he thought he was okay. So he went ahead and he had the work done. And then afterward, he found out that it was still in noncompliance. The noncompliance at that point didn't have to do with all of the cleanup around the property. It had to do with some of it. Those things were done, and the only thing that hadn't been done was, now, the roof problem was one that, and as Mr. Fordham put in his request, it was one where there was confusion. There was confusion, number one, because the code officer certainly understood what the process was, but the average person really doesn't. The average person really doesn't. I don't know how we get everybody to understand what needs to be done when there is a code violation. I think everybody is told that they are the ones that need to call the inspector and make sure that it's inspected after the work is done. But most folk think that once the work is done, it's just done. So there is some confusion, and I said miscommunication, not because it wasn't said, but because what one person was saying, the other person wasn't hearing. Mr. Fordham assumed that because the work had been done, then he was okay. He later found out that it required more, that his permit had not been granted. And when he found this out, he went back down to City Hall after he had sold the property, and it was sold as is. The only stipulation was that any liens that were in effect on the date of sale, which was October 9th, 2020, any lien that Mr. Fordham would be responsible for. But there was no lien at that point. It was merely a violation. So when he went to get the permit, because he was told that the permit he had was never completed, he was told, as Mr. Garcia said, that he wasn't the owner anymore, and consequently he couldn't do anything about it. So at that point, he assumed, even though he received notices after that, at that point, he assumed that, well, I'm out of this game. It's nothing I can do. So he backed away from it. And because there was a new owner, the new owner is doing the clarification, clearing up the lot. It just got confusing. It really got confusing. But the end result was Sharon made the right decision. She tore it down. Because no matter what happened, Mr. Fordham couldn't get the permit, and I don't know what happened with her applying for the permit, but she reached the conclusion that it's better to just tear it down. It was being used, it was a shed that was being used by church groups who were giving out free food. And they would have their prayer services there sometime, but that was the only use of the shed, And it wasn't a use that she needed for that property, so she just tore it down. It was easier to tear it down than to clear up the confusion that we're hearing today. So that's how we got here, and certainly, as far as Mr. Fordham is concerned, he has pled ignorance as to where he stood in this, especially when he was told that he couldn't pull the permit because he no longer owned the property. Now, it was an as-is sale. There's no question about that, and, of course, I guess if there was a thorough investigation by the new buyer, they would have known that there was this violation there. But as we stand here today, I think we've done what the intent of the code is, and that is make sure that that piece of property is no longer an eyesore, a nuisance, a safety issue for anyone in the community, because it doesn't belong there. And
Well, that's certainly a positive.
if we proceed with this lien, the only thing it acts as is punishment in a situation where there was a lack of clarity as to what was expected and who was expected to do it. So we would ask that the lien in this case be waived. We understand that there are some administrative costs that need to be handled, but as far as the $200 a day, the $15,000, we would ask that this board waive that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Comments from the board?
Yeah, I have
Go ahead.
a question. In our documentation that we have, do we have a copy of the as-is
I don't-
sale?
I don't think, is that pertinent?
No.
Well, it's pertinent for me, maybe not for you.
No, I don't, I mean, is it pertinent to the case?
Right, to me and my decision-making process.
I don't think anybody's claiming that it was
Yeah.
other than an as-is
Right.
sale.
Right.
So
Right.
we can make that assumption based on the attorney's representations and the testimony that you heard.
I
Right,
do have a copy of it if
okay.
The issue is, complicating the issue. The issue is, when she took over property, she purchased the property, how long it took her to get it in compliance? Mr. Garcia is saying October. She's saying probably earlier than that.
Madam
I
Chair.
don't know when it is. Do you have any idea?
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
the city would change its recommendation to administrative costs of 10%, $1,500.
I didn't hear you. Could you?
I'll make a
$1,500,
motion.
he's recommending
I said the city changes its request to our administrative costs of 10% of $1,500.
And she's gonna make a motion.
I'll make a motion that we reduce the lien down to the $150.
15.
Yeah.
Oh,
1,500.
is it 1,500?
yeah.
I was gonna make a motion to do 300 for,
Well-
the administrative cost is 1,500?
I think
Yeah, we typically do 10% of the lien, which is 1,500. And this one was a pretty extensive amount of inspections. It was a very long,
Great.
open case. $1,500 seems appropriate in this case.
And it was open for a long time, and nobody took care of the problems. Okay, we have a,
Is
Can I
that,
we
make,
have a
can I make,
motion.
can I ask another question first before I do the motion?
yeah.
Can the fine be divided between the two parties involved?
Well, however they decide to pay it is up to them.
Up to them.
Right,
That's up to
that's
them.
got
Okay.
nothing to do with us.
Sorry,
Before the motion, may I make
Wait,
one other
okay,
point?
do we have a motion, or did you make?
I didn't
did
finish
not
it.
She didn't finish
motion.
it.
All right, so there's no motion on the floor yet.
Oh,
Go ahead.
Okay. The only point I wanted to make is during this entire process, there was action on the other violations. Where we got hung up was on the roof.
Yeah.
That's where we got hung up, and that's where the confusion started, with the roof. Ultimately, between the two parties, the owner and the former owner, it was cleaned up, except for the roof. So,
Okay.
we would ask that, the 10% be considered a little excessive under the circumstances, and we just deal with administrative costs.
but he asked for the administrative costs, so I think that's the discussion that we're having.
Let's get a motion on the floor.
All right, let's call a question.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that the fine be reduced to the 10% for administrative costs, be divided between the two parties.
No.
Not, no, we don't have the,
You can't divide.
we're not able to do that. It is
Just the
against,
1,500.
the
Property
people
owner.
that are named
Right.
on
But-
the lien.
Yeah, all
We
three of
don't-
them are on the lien though,
Yeah.
aren't they?
Yeah, yes,
the-
yes.
Right.
The lien
But it's
is
up
the
to them
property.
to decide how it gets
How
paid.
they're gonna pay,
Not up to
yeah.
us.
Okay. So I'd like to make the motion to reduce the fine to $1,500 to be paid within 30 days.
300.
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Ms. Roby and a second from Mr. Gonzalez to reduce the amount of lien to $300, subject to being paid with,
1,500.
oh,
Yeah.
want to restate that? All right, we're back to 1,500.
Okay, I take back my second.
And
Yeah,
you're, all right, restate it, please.
to reduce the lien down to $1,500 payable in 30 days.
Okay,
Period.
Second.
period. All right, and we have a motion, do we have, and we have a
Yeah,
second to
second.
that.
Mhm.
All
We
right,
need, we need 4 votes.
we need 4 votes, so let's have a roll call, please.
Aye.
Ms. Marsh?
Aye.
Ms. Roby?
Aye.
Mr. Gonzalez?
Yes.
Ms. Himes?
Yes.
Ms. Gonzalez? Ms. Kundig?
No,
Yes.
it passes.
Okay,
So,
30 days, $1,500.
$1,500 is, we reduced it to $1,500, which are basically administrative costs. Payable within 30 days. So, you probably need to see Ms. Reno at some point. Okay,
Thank you, Madam Chair.
okay.
Bye-bye.
All right, let's move on to our continued cases. Is case number 1 in compliance?
Wasn't called that.
CEB 03-22-79?
It wasn't announced.
No?
Mm-mm.
Okay, I saw, okay.
I think 4 and 5 were
All right,
going
it's
to.
case number 1, CEB 03-22-79, Clarence Haney Jr. Mr. Haney here? morning.
Yep.
Please state your name and address for the record.
John
Be sworn
Haney,
in.
532 Mark Avenue.
Can you speak into the mic, please?
John Haney, 532 Mark Avenue.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yep.
Thank you.
All right, Mr. Jean-Baptiste.
Morning, Inspector Jean-Baptiste. Since last hearing, I've had communication with the owner. In terms of progress, the permit was applied for this week on, as you can see in the picture there, from our internal computer. It was applied for on April 11th, 2022. As such, we have to give them time to go through all the disciplines to get everything approved. Staff requesting to amend to next cutoff, please.
Is there anything you'd like to say? No? Okay. It's your opportunity, that's all. All right. Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until 5/4 to come into compliance or be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Ms. Hines. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Roby. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. So you have your permit, get your work done, and we'll be finished with this.
Don't have the permit yet.
You get it. You applied for it.
I applied for it last Friday.
Okay, good. Okay, that's it. Case is over right now for this portion. Case number 2, CEB 01-22-16, Maybell Bazell. Good morning.
Good morning.
State your name and address for the record.
Annette Pratt, 1058 North Levy Court.
Ma'am, can you please speak into the mic?
Maybelle Bazell. Oh. Annette Pratt, with the property is Maybelle Bazell, who's deceased,
Right.
at 1058 North Levy Court, Daytona Beach, Florida.
Okay. We'll hear from Mr. Butler, and then we'll give you a chance to
Raise your
tell
right
us
hand.
what's going on.
I got to swear in. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Butler.
Good morning. Inspector Roosevelt Butler, credentials on file with the City of Daytona Beach. As it pertains to 1058 North Libby Court, since last month, court proceedings have had contact with the property owner, and they now have a probate attorney. Staff requests them into the June cutoff.
Okay.
Till June, you said?
Yes, ma'am, June.
Is there anything you'd like to tell us? So it's moving along, you're getting someplace.
Yeah,
It's a
that's-
good thing.
I'm waiting
I know
on, I'm waiting on my sister to send her paper back
Okay.
to the lawyer, so we can go ahead on and move and process. Everything is going good, because she had a stroke, and it hold us back. She had went to Texas for her daughter to take care of for a little while, but she's back now, and she said she sent the paper back last week sometime,
Okay.
and
All
we'll
right,
take
so
it
you're
from there when
moving
he get
forward.
it.
That's what we're looking
Yeah.
for, because really not much can be done without that. And the city's recommending that they give you till the 1st of June, so, okay? We'll see if the board agrees with that. Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance, allow respondent until June 1st to come into compliance and be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of fine of up to $1,000 per day. Such a motion? Motion, Ms. Himes, second. Second, Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Okay, good luck with that. All right, case number 3, CEB 02-22-70, Jeffrey Hill. Good morning.
Howdy, folks.
State your name and address for the record and be sworn in, please.
Jeffrey Hill, 1010 Libby Avenue, Daytona Beach.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll hear from Mr. Butler first.
Good morning once again. As it pertains to 1010 Libby Avenue, since last month, court proceedings have had contact with the property owner, whom at the time had a signed contract with a roofing company. However, due to the scope of work, the roofing company backed out because this is about $35,000 to $40,000 worth of work, and he now has the actual document that states why they backed out.
Okay.
And he has a few more companies that'll be coming in starting next week to give him more bids for the roof itself.
Also, in the interim, I just found out, and I talked to the man today about your city improvement program that you have. So he put me on a waiting list. I don't know what that entails. I don't know how that's going to affect your timeline, but he says, and from what I know, programs like that, I'm probably one of many in line.
Well, that may be true, but I would sign, that may be true, and it does take a while sometimes, so,
But I am still continuing to vet hard this time, actual roofing contractors, because I've been on the phone since the cancellation, and nobody wants to take on the scope of work that they're talking about, except for
do you have any closer pictures of that?
Can you zoom in with
Zoom
that?
in on the part, so,
Most of those are just leads. My house is, my yard is full of trees.
what is under the tarp? What part of the portion of the house is that?
That is a old carport.
It's a carport.
Yeah. Well, the roof is also going, well, needs.
yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
City's recommendation.
All right, so the city is recommending that
We amend to the
we
May
amend to
cutoff.
the next cutoff. Okay.
You're being rejected because of the cost.
Yeah, well, because of the,
Can be replaced.
yeah, I've talked to
Well, let
some
us look at
contractors.
this letter, maybe. and
If I
see
may,
what-
if I can educate you,
Yeah,
the scope of the work is not just putting down pill and
Right.
stick and putting
Right.
down
Right,
shingles.
which is what they were there
They
to
have
do.
to
Building.
remove the actual roofing
Right.
structure.
And I need
Right.
flashing
Put it back.
repairs.
Building the whole
I
roof.
need flashing. I got one contractor said that he need a whole roof. Or I probably should get a whole roof, but and then you turn down the job. But yeah, I need some flashing repairs and because
a lot, yeah.
the reason why the
Pretty
people
odd.
that came out and walked around the house and then they packed up their truck and left because they said they didn't want to walk up there, which is essentially what this letter says.
You want to see the letter?
Thank you, sir.
Come on.
Please treat this letter as our notice of the termination of contract proposal dated February 14th. Our crew arrived at the property this morning ready to begin the work.
Sir, you can step back to the podium. We'll bring the letter back to you.
However, the condition is such that the work cannot be performed. The extent of the structure's dilapidated and unsafe condition was not disclosed to us prior to our proposal.
Although I hired them to replace.
All right, now I'm reading this to everybody.
Okay.
We are returning the $2,100 deposit to you.
It's for the record.
This is for the record.
So what are we gonna ask for, just a good faith? Because.
Well, they showed up to do the work, but they didn't have a permit, did they?
Yeah, they had the permit.
They had permits? They had already pulled permits?
Yeah, I actually
That's not
took the permit office, and it is in full, it was pulled.
They never saw the property and
The job foreman came out twice, and he looked around the property.
Not an issue.
He even told me, because they gave me the original quote, which is just for shingles.
Okay.
And he told me, this is gonna cost you a whole lot more, because there's just so much
Get
damage.
at is are you gonna be able to financially,
Well, that's,
Well,
and
that's
that's,
who's gonna get in that
when you get
program.
the $40,000 bill, or determines what we're gonna ask for a date of compliance? I mean, if he has got the money,
All right, my concern, and I'll tell you right now, is the condition of the roof
Yeah.
and whether the structure is safe. What's your opinion on that, Mr. Butler?
Well, as it stands now, I don't think, is it leaking in the house?
Just in
Never
some,
been on the
in
inside.
some corners,
Yeah, so.
laundry room at least.
The house has been in this condition for years, way before I started with the city. So I'm saying the buck stops with me. We're gonna get it taken care of, whatever it takes. But
Right.
that house has been in that condition for years.
Okay. Okay.
But are you saying he has applied to city and he's have other contractors coming in, right?
That information I just received shortly here.
Okay.
He just explained that to me.
So-
So I'm gonna research it. I told him to give me the person's name that he contacted. I will contact them just to see where we are with the process.
What we
Okay,
want
so what are you asking?
Progress report.
At this point, the staff is, I'm requesting them into the May cutoff.
Make
With the
with
progress
the
report.
You
progress,
want them to make
well,
cutoff.
we can do that. Okay.
Well, it can't possibly be in compliance in May, so what we want is a progress report.
Just to see
Yeah,
where
well,
we
you
are.
make the motion to it.
That's my motion.
That's your motion.
All right, Mr. Harrington made a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and request that we have a progress report at our May meeting, which is the 12th of May. Is there a second to that?
Second.
Yeah, I did.
Second, Mr. Gonzalez, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Okay, so, you know, if you want, if you're getting on a program, get on the program. If they say you qualify, do it.
Right. And that's pretty much what I'm waiting
We're
on.
going to ask you these questions next time
Mhm.
to see that we're looking for progress in this.
Oh, I get that. Trust me, I need a new roof. I'm lucky.
Well, I
to-
know you understand that you need a new roof, but I think you need a new roof as quickly as possible.
Agreed.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, case number 4 is in compliance, case number 5 is in compliance, case number 6, CEB 03-22-71. This is Mr. Bostwick's case. Shirley Callaway Holman and Edward Bridges. Okay, good morning, Mr. Bostwick.
Good morning, Board. Inspector Bostwick, credentials on file with the city. Since the last hearing, no progress was made, no contact from the owner. Staff requests a fine of $100 a day with a max of $10,000.
So there's been no progress, no contact, no nothing?
No,
okay?
nothing.
Oh, all right. Any discussion? Chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $100 per day against the respondent effective today, and April 14th, and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum of, now, is this a homesteaded property, $10,000?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Ms. Roby made the motion. Is there a second? Second, Ms. Himes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Case number 7, CEB, this is Mr. Yates' case. Morning. CEB 10-21-307, Robert Benjamin Rowley, and we added on Lawrence Vandenberg. The old owner and the new owner, right?
Correct.
Okay.
My name's
State your
Robert.
name and address for the record and be sworn in.
My name is Robert Rowley, and I reside at 269 Williams Avenue, Daytona Beach.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes,
And you are the new owner?
correct.
Okay.
So,
Well,
since-
wait, let me hear from Mr. Yates
Okay.
first. He can tell us what's going on.
Inspector Kevin Yates, Neighborhood Services. My credentials are on file. Since the last hearing, unfortunately, we've had no contact with the owner, and no progress has been noted. So the city would like to ask for a fine of $100 a day to a maximum of $10,000.
What would you like to tell us, Mr. Rowley? What's going on? Do you live there, first of all?
yes, I
Yeah,
do.
Okay.
he tried to make contact with me yesterday, which would be Wednesday,
Mhm.
and it was, I don't remember the time, but I was busy with work and I couldn't get back.
Okay, but it's up to you to make contact with
Correct.
him. Okay.
So, That being said, today is the first day I've had to get in contact with him, and I'm here now. And I have made progress, but the engineer says he is 2 months out on his plans, and I have an email from him I can provide. And so that's where I'm at. I can't make him move any faster than he can move.
So you are going to get plans and then go get a permit
Correct.
from the city to convert this garage into a living space?
Correct.
Or
And-
has it already been done?
Well, it's been done since I've purchased the house. And I noted that last time I was here, I asked you what I would do if I had not had the plans.
Right.
And you said I would come back, which I obviously hear.
Right.
And I did go to the permitting office when this first started and tried to get a permit.
Mhm.
And they told me it needed to be inspected by a third-party inspector. So I hired a home inspector. I didn't understand that it needed to be an engineer. So I've lost time in that sense, and now I'm playing catch-up. But I do have an engineer, and I do have a contract with him.
What is the name of your engineer?
It's EPI, Engineering and DeLand.
Okay.
And I'm working with the gentleman, Steven, is,
That's okay. So
Was this work done when he purchased the house?
Yeah, so the work was already done by the previous owner, and he purchased the property, understanding that the work was done and it would need to be permitted.
Okay.
and I'm moving forward to
And
do
you're
so.
moving forward
Yes,
on
it's
that.
just the engineer is backlogged, and he said in
Right.
his email, it will be 2 months before he gets to me, and that was last week, so.
All right, what's the board think about this?
Wish you didn't buy the property.
Yeah, agreed.
What's your recommendation, Mr. Yates?
Considering that the work is contracted, if I can see that, if he has that evidence to show that here, I would be willing to make the recommendation that we do move it out the 2 months.
Yeah, I think the big issue here is if you're able to communicate that stuff to us, either forwarding those emails to Mr. Yates or calling him and speaking with him, it allows us to be able to adjust timelines or work with you on stuff like that, or to make recommendations that are
I
in line
understand,
with
I
that.
just, not that it's
Okay,
anybody's
you
problem but
need to
mine.
stay in touch with him. It's not up to him to get in
Right,
touch with
I
you.
understand.
You stay in touch with him.
Right.
Okay. Got Mr. Yates, what?
Given that it does appear to be contracted, that does appear to be a company that's been in the area for a long time, I see no reason not to give him the time and to amend the compliance date 2 months to allow the engineer to start their work.
And if anything changes
Yes,
between now and then,
please.
I'll just keep
Yeah,
Mr. Yates up to date.
Keep in touch with him.
Yeah.
That's the best way to do this.
I
All
just
right,
didn't have a
Chair,
chance to reach out yesterday, that's all.
Okay. A chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until June 1st, 2022 to come to compliance and be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of fine of up to $1,000 per day.
So moved.
On motion, Mr. Harrington, is there a second? Second, Ms. Himes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries.
Thank you.
Good luck. Case number 8, CEB 0222-53, Diane O. Smith. Smith here? No. All right.
No, she's here.
Oh, she's here. I'm sorry. I didn't see you. I got my keys. Good morning. Good morning. State your name and address for the record.
Diane Smith, 822 North Halifax, Daytona Beach, 32118.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right, we'll hear from Mr. Yates.
All right. Since the last hearing, we hadn't had any contact until yesterday when I did my site inspection. And unfortunately, progress was rather minimal. She was able to paint a section of the lower portion of the home. So in this case, I'm going to recommend $100 a day to a maximum of $10,000.
Okay, what's the holdup, Ms. Smith?
Well, the holdup is one thing, I'm all by myself, and I know that's probably not an excuse, but I've taken a lot of losses in the last 2.5 years. I lost my husband and my child. I'm sorry.
Okay, take your time.
with my son, it was done, it happened in the house. So I got some PTSD from that, and I'm suffering with that, but I was really, I didn't contact him. I don't know why I didn't think to call him, but I did my best on doing it by myself until I get help from a family member that's coming down in June. I was so proud of myself. I painted, like a 3/4 of the house, but the one side doesn't count because he's just doing the, you know what I mean? I put too much time on the other side of the house too painting and I wasn't done. I had to go get some more white paint. I never rolled before. I was so proud of myself. But yesterday, I had a mental breakdown because, he was like, I don't see any work done. And I was just like pointing, caulking out. And, maybe it was minimal to him, but it was a lot to me. But I just need more time until I can get some help. I'm willing to, the landscaping has been done. That was $500.
It has.
Pardon me?
The landscaping has been done.
Let me ask Mr. Yates what's left to be done, okay?
Okay.
Okay.
And just relax.
I know.
Okay, so the windows, the dilapidated roof and fascia, the dilapidated deck, the damaged fencing, the peeling paint, the damaged areas of stucco, and the missing screens. She did the items that were done.
Painted right there with that back picture.
Okay, wait a minute, don't interrupt. Go
I'm
ahead.
sorry, I just wanted to show the picture.
Okay.
The dilapidated accessory structure has been demolished and removed,
Right.
and the landscaping has all been taken care of.
Is she going to need permits on any of this work?
She got the permits that she required for the demo. She will require permits for those windows. And possibly you can see that if you go back one photo, the damage to the stucco I'm talking about. Now that when they go and they get a contractor there, that could turn into something bigger because you can see that settling mark that's going all the way along the
Yeah,
home
I
there.
see. I stuccoed all that and painted it, but it does.
But for now, she's gotten all the permits for any work she has done since we started this.
I went up as far as I could with the roller. And then, he's pointing out like little things at the top of the window. And I'm just like, well, I try to get the ladder, the extension ladder, but I couldn't lift it. So, I was just like, I'm just going to have to wait until I get help from a family member because I'm all by myself.
Madam Chair.
I lost my husband and my
Okay,
two
all right,
sons.
we understand.
My dad,
Okay,
who I was a caregiver for 10 years.
okay.
The city would change their recommendation to amend the next cutoff, give us the opportunity to maybe connect her to some community resources in that area that maybe would be able to assist her, and see how much progress we can make.
And also but you said that some family would be helping you. Do you possibly even have like a time frame for that, or
they're
what?
coming. He's coming down June 1st, around the first of that
Okay.
month. So he'll be able, he's in his 40s, so he'll be able to do much more work. I'm energetic, but it's just like I don't know. Yesterday just threw me a curve.
We understand what your situation is and just,
I planted all the seed. They tore up all my driveways doing the demolition. That cost $5,000 just, for the demo.
all right.
I did do that.
Okay, so Captain Lee has suggested that he might be able to look into getting some community help for you. There are some funds available. You need to stay on this. I think the most important thing you could do is, just work with Mr. Yates with a plan.
I know, and I didn't call him. He goes, why didn't you call me? I said,
Yeah, well-
I don't remember you guys saying call him.
Well,
It just a month goes by
stay- I
that
know,
fast.
But stay in touch with him so, he can suggest things or tell you what you need to do. I'd be willing to have a progress report in
Can we-
2 months.
Actually, could we make a different recommendation,
ahead.
if that's okay, before you guys make your decision?
ahead.
We would change our recommendation to the July cutoff, but we think between the community resources and her family coming into town, they could probably have it in compliance by then.
Yes, they'll help me.
And
They're
there's-
willing.
There's no extenuating circumstances, I just briefly talked to the inspector. There's no extenuating circumstances like an impact on the neighborhood. Most of the issues are on the backside of this property. They're not immediately adjacent to the street. So I think that a July cutoff won't have a significant impact.
Okay, what is the July cutoff date? 7/6?
Mr. Yates, could you give her a list of those items that require a permit?
Absolutely. No, I have no problem getting that to her today.
Okay.
And I would like to make the motion that we amend the issue of imposing a fine till July
6th. yeah.
July 6th. And at that time, make a decision as to whether we're going to impose a fine or
Right,
not.
okay. So we're amending the previous order for
Right,
compliance.
right.
And giving her till July 6th. Mr.
Right.
Gonzalez has made a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Harrington. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed.
Thank you.
Stay in touch with Mr. Yates. It's really important that you do that.
Okay, and on the help to, I did call the, one agency, I can't, my mind's blank now, but there's a long waiting list for some of these agencies, but I'm on one, Humanity for,
Habitat for Humanity.
thank you, Habitat for Humanity. I'm on that wait list, but I've been on that wait list for almost a year.
When you contact me, we're going to give you some other resources that
Oh,
we can
okay.
possibly reach out to.
So he'll help me with that.
Well,
Okay, thank you so much. I'm sorry I cried.
You don't have to apologize. Just, it's fine. Okay, so we're giving you till July before you have to come back.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, let's go on to case number 9, CB 03-22-78. Kelly Schofield and Tom Cooper. This is also Mr. Yates's case. These people here? No? Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Yates.
All right. So since the last hearing, unfortunately, we've had no contact and no progress. So I'd like to ask for a fine of $100 a day to a maximum of $10,000.
So that's just still there? Just
Yep.
No movement, no nothing?
Nope.
Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $100 per day against the respondent effective today, April 14th, and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches the maximum of $10,000. Such a motion? Roby, motion, Ms. Himes, second. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Captain Lee, just out of curiosity, what is the policy on those pods sitting outside?
Well, they would be classified as outside storage. You can't have outside.
A rental pod and it sits there. How long can it sit there before they're required to move?
I mean, it is outside storage for the time period that it's there. I mean, if somebody's moving and they were to communicate that with the inspector, I mean, there's some discretion in there, but those are usually momentary situations. They can't become storage units, for example.
Okay.
Yeah. They can't be outfitted as accessory structures or anything like that as well, without some type of permitting process, with, pending some kind of approval from the city, I guess.
Okay, we're on case number 10. CEB 0221-44, Keith Thomas.
Hey there.
State your name and address for the record, please. Be sworn in.
Keith Thomas, 622 Marion Street. I'm going to try to get it like Pelican Bay, Daytona Beach, Florida. All right now.
Raise your right hand, sir. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Every last word.
Thank you.
First of all, I want to thank y'all, Miss Ouija. Y'all got me feeling like Charlie. Y'all know Charlie? From the Wizard of Oz. But that was Charlie in the Willy Wonka in the Chocolate Factory. Yeah. This right here is like the golden piece of candy, baby. This is my contract.
We're gonna let Ms. Kirk Tell us what's going on first, then I'll give you a chance to
I was
talk.
gonna tell y'all.
Well, you tell us when it's.
All right then, go ahead, baby. You got the flow.
Okay. Good morning, Sarah Kirk, Inspector of the City. My credentials are on file. Since the last hearing, I have had contact from Mr. Keith. He has been on the city's assistance housing list, roofing list since March of 2020. And I have great news. A roof permit has been issued on March 30th of 2022. So work is underway. So staff would like to recommend to amend to the June cutoff for compliance.
Okay, do you need to tell us anything?
Y'all
Now-
got it. Y'all, I'm so proud of y'all. Check this out. Who is over the street department in Daytona? Who is in here over the road thing? I am upset with that man. They beat us, Miss Ouija. Check this out. Girl, when I be riding down Orange Avenue from Jean Street, you know where the old driver license place at? Girl, when I be riding down that thing, the man got all the potholes in the driving lane. See, I got a bad back and my front end messed up. Y'all can't do nothing about that, girl. They be hurting my back riding down that road, be bamming like this all the time, messing my front end up. Y'all can do something about that, Mr. Gonzalez.
Mr. Thomas.
Yeah, you know it. You feel it too? Girl, they be hurting me. I got to drive in the middle lane where you turning. That's where the holes need to be at. He got them right in the middle of the traffic
You
lane,
go
Miss
see-
Ouija.
We're gonna move
You go
on.
see the
We're glad you're
supervisor.
getting your roof.
Thank you, baby. Y'all is amazing.
good.
Y'all got me feeling like Charlie done got the golden piece of
okay.
candy,
So,
baby.
what
I Miss Gonzalez, I was looking for your head at there it is.
Make-
Move
Let-
All right, I'm gonna let y'all.
We need to move.
What y'all
on.
want? Okay, go ahead.
Let
All
me
right, brother.
get a motion here. We don't have a motion yet, do we?
I believe in it.
Okay, motion.
All in favor?
Okay, motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until June 1st to come into compliance or be returned for subsequent, to a subsequent
So
meeting for
moved.
consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 a day.
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Harrington.
Second.
Second, Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. There you go.
There it is.
You're all good.
Y'all
You're
know
gonna
what
have
to
a
do.
new roof. We're glad. Okay.
All right, I'm glad
Gotta
too,
move
Miss
on,
Ouija.
Mr.
Thank you,
Thomas.
baby. Y'all fine now. What y'all want to eat for lunch today? Who buying?
Ouija.
You are. Yeah, me.
I ain't got my check yet.
All right, okay. All right, case number 11. Okay, take care. Case number 11. CEB 04-20-84, Larry Sanders. Mr. Sanders here? Oh, good. And this is Ms. Kirk. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, board.
Good morning.
State your name and address and be sworn in,
My name is
please.
Larry Sanders, 721 Loomis Avenue, Daytona Beach, Florida.
Okay.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide, the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Ma'am?
You swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, I is.
Thank you.
All right, we're going to listen to Ms. Kirk, and then you'll get a chance to talk. Ms.
Yes,
Kirk,
ma'am.
go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Since the last hearing, I have had contact with Mr. Sanders. He is still on the city's roof and rehab waiting list. He's been on it since August 10th of 2020. So staff is requesting to amend to the July cutoff.
Now, you know, we've got some new roofing programs in place. When you say they're on a city list, could you tell us what list it is, just so we have it in the record?
I did
think she just
speak
did.
with Mr. Orender in the housing community, he's the housing program delivery specialist in community development with the city of Daytona Beach, Bill Orender. And he stated that Mr. Sanders is on the roof and rehab waiting list. And he's been on that since August of 2020.
And the city has recently increased the funds available
Right.
based on the COVID money.
Right.
Come in.
Right, okay, but that's, I guess it's not relevant, but does that money go into the community development? Does it go directly into?
It's earmarked for the roof
Yeah,
repair
it's
fund.
roof repairs,
Yes.
right, okay. So, but this is more than roof repairs. so
Right,
this
he's the
is-
rehab.
Okay, so you're recommending till July, that date is July what?
Sixth.
Six.
July 6th,
Okay.
What
All right.
year?
Did you want to say anything, sir? You're just waiting, right?
God is good.
Okay, all right.
Any particular year or just this coming July?
This coming July, hopefully. Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until July 6th, 2022 to come into compliance and return to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day.
So moved.
Motion, Ms. Roby, second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Harrington, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Good luck. Hope it
Appreciate
gets done soon.
Y'all have a nice day.
You too. All right, case number 12, CEB 09-21-268, Ernestine Johnson. Is Johnson here? Okay. Ms. Kirk?
Okay. Since the last hearing, there was a fire that was a total loss. Ms. Johnson was on the city's waiting list for a new roof, master and roofing list. She was placed on it in September of 21. So her house, she's been displaced. So at this time, I would like to ask to amend to the next hearing so we can figure out where to go.
When was this fire?
The fire was, well, let me see, the property was condemned on March 9th, so I believe the fire was right prior to that, so maybe the day before.
Very
And I've had trouble contacting her and her caseworker, so that's why I'd like to amend to the next hearing to get a game plan.
When you say it was condemned, was there also a demolition order that went with that?
Not yet.
That may be the direction it's going.
Yeah. Well, not much to be done about that.
Just a miracle.
Yep.
Is the building, is it a danger? Does it need to be boarded up in the meantime? Does any of those things need to happen?
Look, oh,
I
that's
was going
good.
to say, well, I work with the building official on these demolitions, so I know they do need to go out and make that sort of inspection to determine
So when
if
it
it's a dilapidated and dangerous
Right.
structure, and if so, they will issue a demolition order and give her a certain amount of time, a short period, to demolish it, and if she doesn't, the city will demolish it and leave the
Right,
property.
right. But in the meantime,
The order would include a requirement to be boarded and secured until the
Right.
demolition is done. So what really needs to happen here is the building official needs to get out there and do an inspection, and apparently they're already on it since they've
Right,
issued
they are. Mhm.
a condemnation order. But I haven't seen the order, so I don't know if that also entails demolition. But that order requires, or should require them to secure the property.
okay. That satisfies me.
And I've been trying to get in contact with Ms. Johnson as well as her caseworker to see if she'll do a voluntary demo. And
Mr. Sykes, did you want to say something? No? Oh, I thought you raised your hand. Okay. All right. So is any a discussion?
You wanted to amend to next month?
yes, please.
Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until May 4th to come into 2022 to come into compliance or be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of fine of up to $1,000 per day.
So moved.
Motion, Ms. Roby. Second, Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Case number 13, CEB 07-21-223, Tracy Smith.
Okay. Since the last hearing, I have not had any contact. I do have some new information. Miss Smith was initially on the city's waiting list for the roof, but she had the roof repaired on her own. And the only thing she is on the waiting list with the city is for HVAC, which is not included in the violations for bare exposed wood, bare surfaces, and a damaged door. So at this time, I would like to just amend to the next cutoff for compliance.
So the roof is repaired, but the siding, the bare surfaces, the damaged doors and window, is that all part of what the city's going to help her with, or no?
No.
Okay.
So I confirmed that the only thing she's on the waiting list for at this moment is
The
HVAC, that's it. And then she was also on the roof waiting list, but
But
she,
she did that work herself.
right.
So you're just asking for the next cutoff, and what will that accomplish?
I sent her an email letting her know the situation and that the violations need to be corrected, that I can no longer hold it because she's not on the waiting list to have those violations corrected
Right.
by the city.
Okay. But you haven't heard from her,
Not this past month.
and she's not here. All right, any discussion from the board? No? Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance to allow respondent until May 4th to come in, 2022, to come into compliance, be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Such a motion.
So moved.
Motion, Ms. Marsh, second.
Second.
Second, Ms. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Case number 14, CEB 10-21-320, George Starks. And someone named Cynthia Starks came last time, is that correct?
She did.
Okay.
She was on Zoom. There's been since the last hearing, I have had contact with Mrs. Starks. There's been a lot of progress. However, the permit is still not finalized. So I would like to ask to amend to the next cutoff for compliance.
So the work is all done, she just hasn't been final?
Right.
Okay.
All right. Discussion? Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until May 4th, 2022 to come into compliance and be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of fine of up to $1,000 per day. Such a motion.
So moved.
Motion, Ms. Roby, second.
Second.
Second, Ms. Marsh. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Case number 14, CEB 10-21-3, oh, we just did that, didn't we? All right, never mind.
15.
Let's turn the page. Case number 15, CEB 0122-39, Sarah Riles Edward and Devin Robinson, who is the new owner. Nobody's showing? Okay, so the old
I'm here.
owner is-
Oh, Zoom.
Oh, we have a Zoom? All right.
Yes.
Hello.
Good morning.
Please state your name and address for the record and be sworn in.
I am Valencia Robinson, the mother of Devon Robinson, and my address is 1628 Piccadilly Drive. My son lives with me, but the house address is 528 South Caroline Street.
Raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
And where do you live, ma'am?
I live Piccadilly Drive, 1628 Piccadilly Drive, Daytona Beach.
Okay, in Daytona Beach. And you're the mother of?
The new owner.
Of the?
The new owner, Devon Robinson.
Devon, okay, got it. We're clear. Okay. So we'll let Ms. Kirk talk and then we'll see where we are, and then you have a chance.
Since the last hearing, I have had contact from both Ms. Edwards and Ms. Robinson. The deed has been recorded with Devin Robinson as the new owner. I have a copy of it right here. So we would like to add the new owner to the case.
I thought he's already added, isn't he already added?
We were waiting on a recorded deed.
No, our Hang on, we'll check the records, but I believe they were added last
That's why I
month.
asked about the names here. So Devon is the new owner, correct?
Yes.
They're on there.
We have it.
Yeah, they're on there. Yeah.
I
Okay.
thought we were still
All right,
waiting.
we're,
I didn't realize it was.
Well, I was here the last time.
Yeah, you were. Yeah,
Right.
you were.
Yeah, they were added after the last hearing.
My apologies.
Okay, that's all right. No problem. All right,
So you want an update?
sure?
Okay, so the support beam, we had the house inspected. And I mean, of course, look at it, okay? So he went through a program to get assistance with renovating this home, right? And it was just a long, drawn out process. Finally, he became the homeowner. The inspector, the contractor, we're waiting on an engineer. We're waiting on the engineer to do whatever it is he has to do, which is taking so long.
Right.
Everybody is behind.
I know.
Once the engineer gets in his piece, I mean, he already has the money to do. The bank is just holding the money. We just have to have, all the pieces in place. So it's like we're waiting, and my son's a teacher in this testing season, so he can't, take off work to be here.
Right.
So,
Right, okay. That's fine. So the money's in place, the deed's in place. We're now waiting for the engineer.
right.
Okay. And do you
And
have
he's
a,
gone to the house. He has gone to the house, but he has to go do even more, whatever. But I'm thinking next month we will have a permit and we will be on our
Good.
way.
okay. Okay, that's good. That sounds like you're making progress there. All right, so your recommendation, Ms. Kirk, was to move it to amend it to the next meeting?
Yeah, we'd like to amend to July for compliance, the July cutoff date.
Okay.
please.
Yep. Now, I'm learning that now. We're moving these things out. Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance with law respondent until July 6, 2022, to come into compliance and be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Ms. Roby made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Marshall. In favor, say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right, now we are on, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good luck. Case number 16, CEB 01-22-43, Hazel Allen. Okay,
That case was compliance effective yesterday, and that would be April 13th.
okay, so that case number 16-01-22-43 is in compliance as of April 14th. April
13th. Yes, please.
Okay. All right, case number 17, CEB 01-22-46, Angelia Sparrow. Okay, she came last time, not here this time. What's going on?
Okay, since the last hearing, I have had contact with Ms. Sparrow. I also spoke to the roofing contractor. They stated that it would be roughly 4 weeks, weather permitting, before they would work would start. There is a permit that was issued for the roof on March 25th of '22. Staff is requesting to amend to the June cutoff for compliance.
Okay. Any discussion? All right, Chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until June 1st to come in, 2022, to come into compliance or be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Such motion?
So moved.
Motion, Ms. Roby, second.
Second.
Second, Ms. Marsh. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Case number 18, CEB 02-22-65, Kirk Murphy and Don Roberts. No show. Okay.
Since the last hearing, I have had minimal contact. I had a voicemail from Mr. Murphy and returned it, couldn't get a hold of him. There hasn't been any progress. I did find out that Mr. Murphy is on the and rehab waiting list on November 30th of 21. Staff is requesting to amend to the next cutoff for compliance.
Somebody live there?
He was, to my understanding, he was living there and there was something happened, damage, and he's not living there. Don Roberts and Kirk Murphy are brothers. They both, I think it was a family home that was passed to them.
But so it's vacant right now.
Right now, that's what I've been told, it's vacant. And they're waiting, he is on the rehab waiting list
Yeah.
and roofing list.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So you're asking to cut, amend to the next cutoff?
Yes.
Okay. Chair will entertain a motion to amend previous order of noncompliance, allow respondent until May 4th to come into compliance or return to the board for a consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. So, motion, Ms. Himes, is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Roby, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Yes, who are these two nice people waiting in the back here? Do they need to come up forward? We'll hear your case.
There are no more cases.
What?
They're all done. The rest are withdrawn.
That's it?
Yeah.
Complaining?
Oh, so I guess, oh.
Let's
All
find
right.
out who these people are. We
See,
close the
they
meeting.
probably didn't hear that their case
Could be,
was withdrawn.
possible.
I guess that's it.
Hold on.
Wait a minute, let's,
Hang on.
let's get this squared away here. Morning.
A couple back here, they do not have a code case, but they want to address the board about 536 Bowman Avenue. I don't know if you want to hear that or not. It's up to
No,
you.
we can't. I'm not in front of us.
They just received a notice of violation. They believe it's unfair that they received it, and they wanted to speak to you.
No, we don't have a case in front of us.
We don't have a case yet. We prefer to wait until there is a case that is assigned to us so that we're not prejudiced one way or another. We don't know anything about it now, and we won't until there's a case before us. At that point, you will have an opportunity to say, to respond, and you'll be able to tell us whatever you'd like to tell us about why you think that, there isn't a violation, and we will then, we'll then decide whether there is or not. You should probably speak to your code officer.
Yeah, co-owner of 536 Bowman Avenue. And I would like to mention that received a violation from the city, and I feel it's unfair, especially through this time.
Excuse me, wait, I said we weren't going to talk until. No, it's not your First Amendment rights we have. You will be given that opportunity when your case comes before us. We will not deny you
If it
any
comes
of
before
your
us.
rights if it comes before us. If it can be worked out before, then you might not even come before us.
We got this thing saying we have to have this other stuff done with the painting and cleaning up.
You need to talk to the code officer. We do not have control over that part of the process.
Yeah, as Manager Sykes had expressed back there, if you have a problem with what's being expressed to you by the inspector, just speak with a supervisor, and we can hopefully try to address your concerns at that point. If not, at that point, then you can just request that your case be moved to a hearing, and we can move the case forward as it would normally proceed, and we'll hear the case here at that point.
I don't want to be fined, that's what gets me, I'm hearing all this 15,000.
No, you're not getting, the case is not even, let me explain. I'm going to take one more minute and then we'll be done. If in fact this isn't worked out between you and the code officer, and the code officer feels there is a violation, that the city ordinances have been violated, you will get a hearing. And it will be, you didn't hear any of the new cases because all of our new cases needed to be renoticed or came into compliance. When you come before us the first time as a new case, we listen to what the city code officers say are the violations. And you get a chance to say whether you think they're violations or not. And then we look at both sides, and the board then gets involved in that we give you a certain amount of time to fix it. You will not get fined on the first time that you come here. That's not the way this works.
Well, that's what was concerning me. I don't have the money to have the house paid right now.
Well, if the case comes before us, you will be heard then, and you can tell us all of those things then. I'm telling you, the best of my knowledge, this is the way it always works.
And I would be happy to speak to both you outside after the meeting as well to
There you
assist.
go. Okay, thank you.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
Oh, we have a motion from Mr. Harrington to adjourn and a second from Mr. Gonzalez. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.